Hi, Nick Dogan, North State Law. We safeguard your professional license so you can get back to business. Today we're going to be talking about a guide for getting your plumbing or HVAC license, and that's going to be in North Carolina. So the North Carolina Board of Plumbing, Fire Sprinkler, and Heating Contractors govern obtaining different class licenses, what they eventually call certifications, for plumbers, for heating professionals, which ends up being HVAC, and then for fire sprinkler contractors in North Carolina. So the highest classification that anybody can get through this board is like a class 1. And I'm just going to read specifically what that covers so it's abundantly clear to everybody watching. I'm also going to put some of these codes and statutes in the descriptions. So be sure to check out the description below. That'll have more information on there as well. But so when we're talking about a class 1 certification, some say licensure, some say certification. We're going to go with license from here on out just to make things simple. But a class 1 license through this board covers all plumbing, heating, and fire sprinkler systems for all structures. And then we get class 2, covers plumbing and heating systems in single-family detached residential dwellings. So when we start talking about the best license to get, we're looking at class 1, okay? Because as it says here, it covers all plumbing, heating, and fire sprinkler systems for all structures. So if you qualify for that, and I'll get to qualifications in a minute and what you need to be able to sit for these exams and even apply, if you qualify, the class 1 is going to be the best thing because you're going to be qualified for those 3 things, the plumbing, fire sprinkler, and heating, and it's going to be for all structures. So that's obviously the top dog of all this, and that's what everybody, if you're going to be in this industry long term, that's probably what you're going to want to shoot for. Class 2, like I mentioned before, covers just the plumbing and heating systems in specifically single-family detached residential dwellings. If you're like, hey, I only want to do things in single-family detached dwellings, residential dwellings, then that might be the one for you. We'll get into the requirements to be able to even apply and sit for the exams on that one as well. So going back a little bit to the heating portion of it. So even though, like, say you have a class 1 or you're going for a class 1 license, but you want to do heating and you want to do HVAC work, right? So there's going to be 3 different groups that are heating groups, okay? And those are going to be laid out on the application as well. And so heating 1, from what I've been able to see in the statute, and it's North Carolina General Statute 87-21, subsection A, 2, 3, and 4. So heating group 1 differentiates from groups 2 and 3 in that the license holder for those specific groups can work on heating systems of building that requires the use of high or low pressure steam, vapor, or hot water, including piping, ducts, etc., for comfort heating. Obviously, this is not my area of expertise. That's why I was looking at some notes. So if you caught me looking at some notes, I apologize. But obviously, I'm not in this particular field, so I need a little bit of help. But if we look at heating group 2, that's going to be integral systems for heating or cooling a building, mechanical refrigeration capacity in excess of 15 tons and which circulates air. So that's going to put you in group 2 of what you would be allowed to do with that sort of certification. And then heating group 3, which is another portion of the application where you can be licensed through, is direct heating and cooling system of a building, mechanical refrigeration capacity of 15 tons or less. So you see right there, one of the differences between 2 and 3 is the tonnage, being the 15 tons. Group 2, in excess of 15 tons. Group 3 is capacity of 15 tons or less. So that's the cutoff point between those 2. And then obviously group 1 is they don't have a tonnage requirement. So that tells me that all tonnage would be okay. So let's get to how do you qualify to even sit and get the class 1 certification or license, so to speak. 3,000 hours of full-time experience, installation, maintenance, repair, etc. Is what you're going to need. And what you really need to do, what you end up having on these applications, is affidavits from people that you've worked with. So if you're a newbie and you're starting out in this industry, you really, and this goes for everything, but if you're starting out in this industry, you really need to get with somebody that's reputable, that understands, like, hey, I'm going to help this young person along or this newbie along, and start tracking your time. If you need to track your time yourself, then do it. You know, whatever your case may be, track your time. And most of the time, if you're in a reputable business, they're going to be hourly, and they're going to be able to track your time via your pay stubs anyways. Just keep track of all that stuff, whether digitally or physically or both. Because you're going to need the 3,000 hours of basically doing full-time installation, maintenance, service, repair, things like that, which would be plumbing or heating, working on plumbing or heating systems. Okay. If you do the Class 2 application, then you're looking at 2,500 hours. Same type of deal, 2,500 hours working under somebody that is doing repairs, maintenance, installation, things like that for plumbing or heating systems. So those are the two main ones. There's also under the under the administrative code, a restricted limited plumbing contractor license. And that is like 1,500 hours full-time experience, same thing, working under somebody, doing the installation, maintenance, repairs also. This one's got a little bit of a caveat where up to 1/2 of the experience for this restricted limited plumber contractor license can be in academic or technical training. So like if you go to a tech school and you graduate, you meet the requirements, then half of that 1,500 hours for the restricted limited plumber contractor license can be accounted for right there. So that'll cut that in half, 750 hours right at the gate after you get, you know, your graduation from tech school or wherever you get your education from. That's going to cut 750 hours off right out of there. And then the board can prorate part-time work or fewer than 40 hours per week, or part-time academic work of less than 15 semesters or quarter hours. And they might not cut off like the whole 750, but they might cut off some hours if you meet that and have that taken care of. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about here, I want to kind of go back and talk about some others in this particular industry that I've represented in the past. The biggest thing as you grow your business, you're going to need to start hiring people, right? So when you start hiring people, the biggest question that I have seen presented to a lot of people, whether they're plumbers or they own an HVAC company or whatever the case may be, is can I hire a 1099 employee? And I've got a video, it's on this playlist, it's on my YouTube channel that talks in depth about this. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. I have people come up and tell me like, oh yeah, I can hire a 1099 person, that's not a problem. As long as they're licensed, I'm good, right? And that's not exactly the case. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you what the answer is. You have to check out the other video for that. But you got to be really, really careful what people will tell you. Like people, they mean it in the best way, but sometimes they're not as knowledgeable about things as they seem because they heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend and that sort of thing. And you can never find out, what's the source of all this information? Well, the source is actually in the administrative code and the statutes, and the administrative code and the statutes is very clear on if a licensed plumber or HVAC professional or a fire sprinkler contractor can hire a 1099 employee. And then it gets into some exceptions there as well. So I'll let you check out that video and some other videos I have regarding this particular board. But if you got any questions, check out the blogs, check out on my website, that's northstatelawfirm.com. Check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, like I mentioned. If you can't find what you're looking for, if you've got additional questions, feel free to give my office a call or send a text to 919-521-8810. And we can give you a free 15-minute discovery call with a member of my staff. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Keep things flowing from North Carolina. Have a good one. Bye-bye.